In this video, I'm going to show you guys how to render out turntable animations in Blender. So the first thing I'm going to do is to center this 3D cursor into the center of the Blender scene. And to do that, I'm going to press Shift-C. Then I'm going to press Shift-A and I'm going to add an empty. And I'm going to add the sphere, but you can add whichever one you want. But I'm adding the sphere just because I like how it looks. And then I'm going to scale it up. And then I'm going to select everything in the scene, so it'll select all the different parts of the train 3D model. And then I'm going to press B and middle mouse and click just to deselect the empty. Then I'm going to move the train 3D model into the center of the scene. So if your 3D model isn't in the center of the scene, just make sure it is. And it doesn't really matter about up and down because we're going to be rotating it on the Z-axis. So it's not really going to make a difference where it is up and down, but just make sure it's in the very center of your scene, just like that. Next, I'm going to Shift select the empty, and that way we have everything selected. But you can see the empty, we selected that last, and so it's this lighter yellow color. Then I'm going to press Ctrl P, and that's going to set parent, and I'm going to set the parent to object keep transform. And because we selected the empty last, now all the parts of the 3D model are going to be parented to this empty. So we can move this empty around, or we can scale it or rotate it or do whatever we want, and the train is going to follow along with it. And why I'm doing this is so that then we can just animate this empty and we don't have to worry about animating all the parts of the train, and everything will just stay together. Okay, now let's start animating. So I've decided that I want the entire rotation of the turntable to be 150 frames. So basically just figure out how long you want it to be for the 3D model to go all the way around in one circle. So I'm going to be doing 150 frames. So I'm just going to start out at frame 1. So just move to frame 1. And then I'm going to press I, and that's going to insert a keyframe, and because we're only going to rotate it, I'm just going to hit rotation. And you can see now it's added a keyframe right there. And then what we need to do is we need to move ourselves one frame over after the end frame. So my end frame is 150 frames, so I'm going to move to 151 frames. Then we're going to be rotating this. So I'm going to hit R for rotate, Z for the Z-axis, and I'm going to type in 360. So that's 360 degrees, so it's all the way around. And you can see up here on the left corner right above me, you can see it says rotation 360 along global Z. So now you can hit enter, and now we've rotated it all the way around, so it doesn't look any different, but that's because we've rotated it all the way around. Now I'm going to press I again to insert another keyframe, and we're going to click on rotation again. And why we set the ending keyframe one frame after the end of the animation is because 360 degrees is the same as 0. So if we had the end frame at 150, then there would be one frame in between where it's going from the last frame back to the first frame where the train would be at the same position. So that's why we need to end it one frame after. And you may have noticed that at the starting of the keyframe, it starts to speed up, and then as it comes to the end, it slows down and stops. And why this is happening is because the default interpolation of the keyframes is set to Bezier. And so that's a smooth transition in between the keyframes. So we can easily change this. What we're going to do is just move your mouse over the timeline and press T. And you can see here's the keyframe interpolation, and on default, it's set to Bezier. So just click on linear, and that way it'll go directly from the first keyframe to the second keyframe, so it won't slow down at all. And you can see now it's a completely loopable animation. You're not going to notice any difference. So now let's add a camera. So I'm going to press Shift-A and just add a camera. Then I'll press Ctrl-Alt-0 to hop the camera to where I am. And then you can just move the camera around to where you like. So what I like to do is I like to play the animation, and then I move the camera around. And I just figure out a good place, just making sure I don't cut off the 3D model at all when it's rotating. And now you need to set up your render settings, so just render the image, make sure everything looks good. I'm doing this in Eevee so that it will render nice and fast. So once you have all your render settings set up, we're going to go to the output here. And you're going to need to choose a folder and put all the frames into a folder. Then after we render out all the frames, we're going to use Blender's video editor to put them together into a video. So just click on this. And so I've just put them all in a folder here on my desktop. So I'm just going to click accept. And now we can just save again by going File, Save, and then I'm going to press Ctrl F12 to render the animation. So here's the folder where I have all the frames rendered out. Let's just open a new scene in Blender now. So here we are in a new scene in Blender. You can just go over here and click on Video Editing, or you can just go File, and go to New and just click on Video Editing. So this isn't a video editing tutorial, but I am going to go over a few basic things so that you can follow along. So here's the timeline. I'm going to press Shift A. We're going to add image sequence. So now just locate to the place where you've rendered all the images. I'm just going to double tap A to select all the images and then click on Add Image Strip right here. So you can see here is our image strip, and you can click play and you can see it's working. Now I rendered out these images as 1920 by 1920, so you can see this is a bit messed up. This may not be an issue for you, but if it is, you can just go strip and click on set render size and make sure you have this strip selected while you're doing that. Also, if you know the render resolution that you rendered your images at, then you can just change that right here. And then the frame rate, I just rendered that at 24 frames per second, but if you rendered it at a different frames per second, you might need to change that. So now just set the end frame right down here, so I know that I rendered it to 150 frames, so you can just type in 150, hit enter. So now let's set the output, so I'm just going to click right here and set an output for our final render. And I'm just going to save it in the same folder that I have my images. I'm just going to call it final render and then click on accept. And then down here, you can see the file format. We're going to need to change it to a video file. So I use FFmpeg video, and then on the encoding right here, I like to use MPEG-4, and then I like the video codec to be H.264. I leave these at medium quality and medium speed, and then if you have any audio, then you can add that. I like to use ACC or MP3, but I don't have any audio for this, so I'm just not going to use that. So you can save this file if you want, just in case it crashes, and then I'm going to press Ctrl F12 to render out the animation. Now, if you want the video file to be longer, you can do that as well. So I'm just going to press escape right here. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to press Shift D with this strip selected, and I'll just move it over, and then I can actually just click right here and it'll bump it over. And now we can just set the end frame to longer. So I'm just going to set it to 300 now. And then you can click play, and you can see because these loop, you can just keep on adding more and more, and it'll just continue to loop. So if you want it to be a really long video file, you can just set this longer, and it'll just keep looping between these frames. So that's the tutorial. Hope it was helpful, and I'll see you in another video.